Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Marvel's Snapshots, Captain Marvel. I don't pick these up often, but when I do, they're usually really good. And this was no exception. I enjoyed this. And there's actually a little philosophy in here also. You're going to have to stay off of the I don't know, click away button and actually listen to what I mean because I'm going to be trying to represent everybody in this. No, seriously, everybody. This issue is called What's Your Story? Mark Waid is the writer, Claire Rowe on art, and Mike Spicer doing the color art. Happy to see Mike Spicer doing some work over in Marvel. He's really big on the independents, so nice to see Marvel recognizing a good color artist. Well, another good color artist. So I think all the good color artists are at Marvel at this point. VC's Joe Caramagna on letters, Alex Ross doing the cover, Kurt Busiek doing the curating, and Rose and Spicer doing the variant cover. There's also another variant cover and a hidden gem and blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, special thanks to Colleen Duran. I'm going to say that the biggest warning about this book is that, there's an Alex Ross cover. And when you open up the book, no art, including Joe Bennett's art, is going to compare to Alex Ross. And with Claire Rowe being such a, to me, a brand new name, I can't remember a time that I've read a Claire Rowe work before, or seen the art of Claire Rowe. But it's one of those situations where it's like Alex Ross and then 2 or 3 pages, at least one page of you getting used to not Alex Ross. So Claire did a really good job in this book, but it's not Ross. So that just giving you the forewarning, there might be that moment where you have to take a step back and say, okay, that was just the cover, and I knew what I was getting into with the Marvel Snapshots. We do get an origin for Captain Marvel. We also get an origin for Ms. Marvel in here too, because if you remember, they're actually related. The origin stories they actually blend into each other's just a little bit, right? Sort of from a certain point of view, as Obi-Wan would say. All of this is really just the discovery of a little girl. Her name is what the heck is her name? Jenny? I think it's Jenny. Anyway, Jenny got suspended for marching in a trans person's rights march, basically, and it was at school, so she got suspended from school for that. Her mom wants her to chill out because, hey, you got to worry about yourself, okay? You got to make sure you don't get suspended from school. It looks bad, like how are you going to get into a good college and stuff like that. While at the same time, Jenny acknowledges that, but she also acknowledges that she's got to do the right thing. Now, there are lots of different ways to approach this, but I'm going to approach it from what I believe is a fairly different angle, and I imagine this is the angle that Wade actually wanted us to go in. Jenny is a selfless person, and this is the first appearance of this character, and I actually do really hope that I get to see this character again. I would love to see the development of a normie. You know what I'm saying? Of a regular old person. I'm probably not using normie right, but anyway, I would love to see a regular old person, young person in this case. Shut up, okay? I want to see more of Jenny. I want to see her seeing the Marvel Universe and trying to do the right things, okay? And mind you, the right thing is a reality, and reality is really just everybody's individual perception. So, should she be marching for trans people's rights? Should she be marching for mutant rights and marching for feminism and equality and hell, for the sake of conversation, shouldn't she also be marching for men's rights in courts when it comes to decisions regarding their children, right? Should she be marching for all these people? If she wants to, yeah. And one of the main reasons why is because it's pointed out that this is really just her trying to understand her identity. I wonder about my kids. And my kids actually span 2 different generations. So it's a little scary. There's Gen Z and then there's Alpha, right? So I'm always a little worried. Like, are they gonna see eye to eye with each other? Are they gonna, do the little generation gap thing? Plus, I'm Gen X. Saying I'm right before all that stuff. I'm right before Gen Z and all that. So, like, I sit here and I wondered, genuinely, like, is this going to be a situation where I can't understand my kids? Because so far, so good, but who knows what the future holds? But they're trying to find their own identity. an identity in a world where people don't go outside. Even if you put aside COVID, people just don't go outside the right way. Literally, that was actually a mispronunciation, but I mean it. They don't go outside the right way. It's not just, go here, go there. No, nobody goes outside to play anymore for the most part, right? Not the way that we did in Gen X and every generation before that. Not the way that we did. I think that my generation was the last one that, as a whole, we formed baseball teams without needing a freaking school or after school programs. After school programs were made for my generation, to my understanding, because sometimes there were people who weren't engaging in sports after school or something to keep yourselves occupied and not go, to make sure that you can just say no, or not even be in a situation where you have to say no. F you, Nancy Reagan. But, you know, like I wonder what's going to happen with the current generation and how all these different generations are going to work. Maybe you guys look at Kyle Exum and you have an idea of how the current generations are going to look at the future. But for now, it's always interesting to see that. And here's this little girl, Jenny, who she's trying to figure out who she is. And part of who she is right now is protesting for people's rights, for equality. And that's very noble. It genuinely is. There's still the sense of go woke or go broke, and all that good stuff and whatnot. Like, I get it. That's undeniable in this. She's getting herself into trouble. And there's a good chance that nobody's going to appreciate this. At some point, she might say something wrong and be called a racist. It happens, right? So what she's fighting for is not so much as important as who she's trying to be and how she's trying to be that person. She's trying to figure out who she is. And everybody has to do that. Everybody has to figure out their own identity. You know what I'm saying? God forbid you also have to deal with being bisexual or anything, any part of LGBTQ, where you have to try and figure out your place in the world and what are you, Rebel, can't, don't know if you're a girl or a boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being dead serious here. So she's trying to figure that stuff out. And I'm seeing the development of this character, Jenny. And I think that the worst disservice that Wade could do is to not bring Jenny back. Dead serious when I say this. I would love to see his interpretation of what a young girl, or just a young person, period. Like, bring back the Newsboy Legion if you got to. You know what I'm saying? Granted, that was DC, but I forget what they're called in Marvel. The ones who used to go around and follow all the superheroes, like in the Avengers and all that stuff. Anyway, those guys. They're both Kirby creations, so... Psst. But the idea of, like, actually seeing regular people in the comics, almost like an independent comic, but they're seeing what these heroes are doing and they're trying to live their lives while also trying to find their own identities and whatnot. I think that would be a really great venture for Marvel to dip their toes into. And I would love to read something like that. The Marvel Universe, for the most part, is a living, breathing organism. Unlike DC, it's just got to be noted. Like, if you don't have a name in DC, you don't mean anything. Meanwhile, people with no names in Marvels can change the outlook of things, like with the superhero civil war and the different judgments that are made and whatnot, right? Characters who maybe they do have a name, but you'll never remember them later on, but you will remember the impact that they have on the universe. Marvel has always been good with that. And I would like to see them take it a step further and almost feeling like an independent world, I'd love to see something like that. Just, hey, some writer writes about such and such, you write about such and such, but this time from Jenny's point of view, or from Alex, whoever the hell Alex is, or Bob, whoever the hell Bob is, right? Just from a regular person's point of view. I would love to see something like that. And this, I feel like, is a really great dipping your toe in the water, just trying to, is it too hot? Is it too cold? Anyway, I really enjoyed this comic book. And it was, for the most part, fairly basic. But nonetheless, it's that simplicity that I actually enjoyed on it. Again, love to see more of this character. Let this be a first appearance and not an only appearance. And let's move on from there. Guys, that's going to be it for me. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.